All right, folks, why don't we get going? So thank you all for coming out. I'm going to speak up so you can hear me. As you can tell, the acoustics in here are pretty lousy. So the only thing I'll ask is when you speak up, make sure that we can hear you. So I'm going to reintroduce myself and everybody that's up here. My name is Scott Doherty. I'm one of the selectmen. Beth Blair, one of the selectmen. Kent Ruswick, one of the selectmen. And Ken Folsom, who's the town administrator. So the purpose of tonight's meeting really is to talk about organizing. If you remember the last meeting, where we left it was how can we move forward in a constructive manner? And the consensus seemed to be that we organize and then try to move forward that way as a group. If you remember, DES, I would say, dropped several hints during that meeting that they wanted to deal and were willing to deal with an organized group. So that's what I think we should give them, is a group that's organized. So having said that, Joshua, my memory is that the last meeting you had some information about different options on forming groups.
I was repeating what somebody else said, which was a village district, a non-profit, and a something else.
Okay.
Just an association.
Right. So in a little bit, we're going to actually talk about another area here in town that formed an association and has actually gotten some grant money for one of their projects. So Ken will talk about that in a little bit. So I'm not sure that I would let the details of the organization stop you from moving forward. I think the association suggestion would at least get you started and let you, start to organize and move forward. So having said that, we need people to step up in leadership roles. So show of hands, who's willing to step up?
Go ahead, Mike. I don't want to be the only one, but
I understand you shouldn't be the only one.
I'm usually verbose. I'm not the most technical guy, but I would certainly be willing to be involved. And I have been a president and vice president of several condo associations, so I'm used to working with people that don't always agree. And compromise is probably good. I probably wouldn't want to be the leader of the group, but I would like to be involved, partially because I'm honestly new to the community. I'm tied to the community now, but I would definitely like to be involved. And I'm probably on that pond more than anybody in this room. I'm there almost daily.
No.
Can I interrupt for 1 second? Could you, we know who you are, but Lois may not, and she's taking notes, and you've got this thing? Okay, thank you.
I'm Bob Rogowski.
We know that, I wasn't sure Lois did.
All right, is there anybody else that's willing to help in a leadership role? Joshua, did I see a hand sort of go up?
Sort of.
Yes, okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Mike, was that?
I would love to be at this point in time until more things get cleared up. I'll be happy to participate and help in any way I can.
Yeah.
But at this time, I'm overwhelmed with this and many things that are.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm a little hesitant to
Understood.
stand up and say, "Oh yeah, follow me," and I'm busy.
Yeah.
I'm very into legal issues before we go on. I just have too much.
Can I ask you a question? Is there a chance that we can see who wants to be involved and then maybe build a leadership from there? I think where I'm at is I think you need a group, and then that group needs to choose a leader. And I think in that group, like, I'm very clear, I want the pond to be there no matter what, okay? I'm sure that there's people in this room who don't feel that way. So if you pick a leadership role, without completely understanding where everybody comes from, that may not be a fair group decision. I think we need people, and I mean, I've joined association creating. I think you need people to start, and then those people make the decision of who your leaders are. That's my only suggestion.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but we're not here to organize you, but to help you get organized. So it wouldn't be up to us to pick a leader. Am I correct in that?
Yeah.
So-
And I also asked in this process to have the town members involved at the very beginning of this group as well, not just us, and not necessarily for liability reasons, but for direction, communication, access to a public site like, for Canterbury Shores Association stuff is posted on your website. Things of that nature that as a group starting, we would not have. That is kind of what I'm looking for, not just us, but community involved.
Yeah.
I think the other part of that also, Shane's Telephone, by the way, is we also need somebody that's between Shaker Village at this point, who isn't here tonight, I understand, and an association of any kind.
Right.
I mean, otherwise we're working possibly for the fun.
Right. The only thing I'll say about that is we have no control over it.
That I understand.
So
Yeah.
if they choose to participate, they can, certainly, but it's not up to me or anyone up here for that matter.
Well, at any point, are they responsible in any way to account if the dam breached?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Well, what I'm saying is if next week we have a horrendous rainstorm, the
Yeah.
dam breaches, I mean, what's their responsibility?
I can't answer that. That's, I believe, a court matter at
That's
this
right.
point, so.
So I mean, is the work fruitless? I guess that's what I'm saying. Form an association, we can be prepared to take action, but we can't really do anything, it sounds like.
I'm not sure I agree with that, first of all.
Okay.
I think what DES said at the last meeting was they wanted to deal with a credible group and work on some numbers for a siphon system to take some of the pressure off the dam.
So basically, we are helping, at this point, Canterbury Shaker Village pay that bill. I'm just asking.
I don't agree with that either.
Okay.
But however you choose to phrase it. Okay, good. Mr. Finemore? Welcome. Thank you. Just so everybody knows, Mr. Fidmore is a representative of DES. So welcome. Glad to have you.
Scott, can I just, Mr. Katz, who was the chairman of the trustees of the Shaker Village, could not make it tonight. He's having a medical procedure and he couldn't make it, but he did want to pass on that we are taking notes tonight and we're going to pass on that information to them. And he is interested in staying active in the process.
Can we approve those notes? To be quite honest, I think we should have some negotiations that they should not be involved.
I agree.
I think if we have an association where we come up with stuff, obviously there's multiple sides of this and multiple approaches. And I think that if we decide to have an association, there should be a meeting. I think that should be private and not shared. I know that was brought to me by at least 10 other people. Unfortunately, not a lot of them are here. But a lot of people I know feel that something should be done. And I think a good amount of people understand that some of it will come on us. But I also think that they don't want to feel the Shaker Village and walk away scot-free. And they also don't want them to completely understand where we're coming from. Because we only have to be very truthful. The town should feel the same way. We only have a small amount of leverage, and we only have a small amount of time. Your tie is property taxes. Our tie is property value and quality of life. So whatever this group has, I have to say we like them involved, and we ask that question. But the bottom line is their goals are nowhere near the same as ours. I don't want them to have our goals or our information other than what we decide to display. Is that a reasonable statement?
Yeah, except Bob, I'll caution you, tonight is a public meeting.
No,
So-
that's what I'm asking is if we decide to create an association, then some of our actions could be discussed privately. We could come up with an association, and that information could be shared, but our meeting, discussion, group, or whatever we do, we should be able to keep that as a private conversation.
Just to touch off on that,
Yep.
you can, because of it being a private association, you can keep all that information quote unquote private. It does not need to be public to everybody.
I think that's what we need to know, as well as the
Yeah, which honestly, I'm still learning.
Well, what I'm saying, once the association is formed, that's your business, but this
Right.
business is public
Yeah.
understood.
Yeah.
tonight. But any going forward, that's the association's business.
And Bob, to go back, I think, to what a few minutes ago you were asking, you asked for a show of hands of who wanted to assist. How did you want to phrase that?
I basically, you asked for leadership. I would
Yep.
like to know who would be willing to be on a committee and take, it doesn't matter what role.
Okay.
But is it the two of us, or is it 20 of us? I mean, if
Right.
it's only the two of us, then we shouldn't have been talking.
Yeah, so let's have a show of hands.
I mean, there are other people that are willing to be involved.
So I can volunteer.
Okay. Keep your hands up, I think.
So we can have that on our list.
Yeah,
Could you just, for the speed's sake, could you just say, are we Carol Brooklyn?
Yes.
On that side? Sorry.
Donna and Stuart Russell.
Linda and Mike come home.
Sorry?
Linda and Mike come home.
Should I get it?
And I remember the last calls, the association. Down there in the water, and I said, okay,
all right, so for all of you that just had your hands up, and for Bob and Joshua and Mike, my suggestion is after tonight, call your first meeting, organize at that meeting, formally pick your leadership. I don't think anybody's gonna run against you, but.
just think we have started.
Agreed. Yeah.
In my view, from communications with the state, which I've had several emails, I've been to all the meetings, and I don't want to speak out of turn, this gentleman's here. It
Yep.
sounds like all they're asking us to do is organize and try and have a plan, because Shaker Village has no plan, they're trying to run away. If we present a plan, and I don't want to speak out of turn, at least if we're trying to do something, it sounds like they'll back us up. If they don't, then they won't. And I mean, some of the things that they've asked us to do, I know everybody doesn't like the stipends, because it may affect them, but I think if we put a stipend system in or something, and used it in the high water times, they're gonna look at that. And I also got the impression that they're willing to let us work on this area within reasonable terms, but we can't for the other people. So I don't see us having to spend these thousands of dollars and doing things. I think what we have to do is take a step forward. And I mean, I know I'm talking a lot, but I care about this, and I don't want to fight. I want a way around the fight.
Yep.
I think that there's ways to do that.
Yeah.
The first thing we have to do is realize that we don't agree with them. Maybe we can get something out of them, but our leverage goes when the Attorney General rules. Up until then, they've got a stake that they're not sure. Are they going to win or lose? My thought here, and I won't say anymore, is they said that they will breach the dam if it's theirs. We know that there's a cost to breach that dam. Maybe some of that cost out of the deal. You pay half of what you think it's going to be breached up front and help us. being is not to let them scot-free. But what happens, and we all say, well, if we just walk away, what if the owners of the racetrack say, hey, I don't want this risk, I'll pay Shaker Village that dollar to take that dam, and he doesn't mind spending $200,000 to protect his investment and lower his insurance rates. So I don't think it's just us and Shaker Village. I think there's a bigger umbrella that we have to look at. I think, at least from what I've heard in the early meetings, I think there's a lot of anger, but not as much direction towards solution.
Yeah.
That's just my.
And that's our goal tonight, is to get a direction for it. Joe?
That was what I was about to say, what Alfie just said. I mean, you can't really wait on Shaker Village and step up or do anything. Sure, because I kind of thought the same thing. The racetrack where the owner is may have a similar feeling that you do, but you're not going to get Shaker Village to react in that direction. They're not going to put any more effort towards it. So this association, once it's formed, can be that catalyst to, talk to them and see if they would be willing to pitch ideas themselves. Unfortunately, that's what I got from DES's comment about forming this association, is that Shaker Village is not going to put any more effort in. So another party may be able to find those solutions. And again, nobody wants to spend the money because they think it's Shaker Villages, but how long do you wait?
Right.
The other thing that if I could ask to that,
Sure.
no matter how it goes, whoever it lands on is going to need some help if we're going to keep it. Whoever it is, if it lands on the current landowner, or if it falls all the way back to the 1800s to Shaker Village, in order for us to achieve our goals, we're going to need to pull this together. Because if there's no place for it to go, they're going to take the easiest way. So if we can get set up, we get access to bonds and insurance, and have some reasonable type of mechanism for us to move forward with, that's our path. That should be our path. Because at that point, the path really isn't different. And I'm sure the guy right there from DES might admit to this or not. But there was no more teeth in pressing them to do the repairs as there would be for a new association. So at that point, we'd be given reasonable time to come up with money as long as we kept it in a safe condition. So this isn't like, oh, next week Attorney General's going to say you better be buying it for $1, because this is going to take time.
Yeah.
But once we do buy it for $1 collectively, in an LLC or whatever we're doing, village district, then we'll have, maybe we'll be afforded, some of the luxury of the time, as long as we can keep it at a water level that they consider DES
Right.
safe.
Right. And I think that's one of the things, and I know there's mixed opinions on the siphon, but my impression from DES is the siphon is a temporary way to take the pressure off the dam while an organized group works on solutions. That's what I took away from the last meeting.
Scott, a question on that.
Sure.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So Mr. Finmore is from DES?
Correct.
So a question would be, so if this group organizes, how would they work with DES? Do they have their person contact? How would that work?
Well,
They need information.
I think you can contact us anytime. It's issues kind of the forefront, or aware of what's going on. And I think that everything everybody's saying, that the two get put together, form an association, be in a position to do something once the attorney general's office figures out who is the problem.
Yeah.
And then to be in position and continue to monitor the situation. That's what we're doing, is just monitoring. On and leave.
Yeah.
That's what everybody's talking about.
But until such time as the Attorney General makes a ruling, if the association has questions, they can ask them of DES. Okay, thank you.
He was hard to hear. He was hard to hear.
Yeah, if you would just project out this way, or, just out this way instead of.
All residents don't have organizations, they have, good organizations, who's still bylaw, all that kind of stuff. I think we need to consider at some point when we're going to reach out as an association to Shaker Village and try to draw that into the loop. I think if we can do that, positively, as we're widening our constituency.
Yeah,
And let them know that we're not trying to go behind them or underground. Let them know that we have the interests of the community at heart. But let's face it, that damn bridge is there goes the village. It's downstate. You know, isn't it? No, I think we never goes. Well, it's kind of how far it goes, but it voids it. It's sort of damage something everywhere. And I think that the point is, we need to be inclusive.
agreed.
And we need to bring as many players as we're on the field. And that way we can hopefully build a stronger coalition.
Yeah, and see, going back to what Bob was saying, part of organizing is going to be to choose a path forward.
Yes.
And that's going to require consensus. So I think that's why Bob was interested in who's really all in here tonight.
The other question I'd like to know is, we don't know how to do this, and I don't know how to ask the question without being rude. Is anybody in this room aware? I would know.
Just to bounce off what you just asked. Just to bounce off what you just asked, that is kind of what DES's hope was. Because I remember Jim Weber saying specifically that he has contacts to give you help. But those contacts don't want to talk to like a whole room like this. They want one single contact. And that's, I can agree with you, that's the hardest thing, trying to figure out what he can do and how to start. That's what the point of today is, to try and get that one contact, at least to start, and Jim can get you those.
Correct.
That's what I was getting.
Yeah, so,
We got an association, but is it legal? Is it real? Do we have paperwork? I mean, it's not hard.
yeah,
Well, what I'm getting at, so bottom line is two things have to happen. You have to have a decision maker and you have to have some kind of financial resources. I guess that integrates with meeting with people. Once you have a bank account, you have somebody that communicates, you have an association. Until you do that, you don't. So you have to get an open account, and you have to get, whether it's GoFundMe or something, you have to have a provable bank account, you have to have a trackable email account, things like that. That's the part I don't know how to do. But if we have that involved, then I think we could start almost immediately doing something. But it's just how do you make that first step?
so you're actually sort of jumping ahead to what I was going to suggest, which is before we leave here tonight, set your first organizational meeting for like next week, because time is of the essence here. So I would not be looking much further out than that.
Well, July.
See, and that's, unfortunately, you're right. Yeah, so you're gonna already have to look at 2 weeks. Yeah,
At some point in time in the past, my son registered Lyford.org, Lyford whatever, all of them. So we own all the websites.
gotcha.
Can we rename it? No, I think however you say it.
Just to throw that up, that's a good start.
Well, Kim stand up.
I think,
And then
I'm
nonprofit.
sure we'll sort of wrap up with this part of it.
No, I know yours isn't, but those are some of the questions you have to ask yourself when you're creating a nonprofit or business that needs to be registered with the state of New Hampshire.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
I know, I do.
Oh, good.
Well, there you go.
We need everybody that has a skill and want to bring whatever they have. That's what I'm talking about. Not a leader.
Yep,
Not everybody knows how to do it.
right, I agree. All right, so we've got an idea of who's all in. Lois has those days. So anything else, Bob, Joshua, Mike, that you want to cover? Otherwise, I want to talk about another group in town that had an issue, has organized, and has gotten significant amounts of grant money. So anything else before we move on to that?
We should pick a day.
Or location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I want to know is this list that's coming in here that raised their hand is going to be emailed to everybody that was agreed to do that, so we know how to host the meeting, because like, you have it now, I.
Yeah. Do we have an email for you?
Yes.
Okay. So
I
there you
got
go.
like 5 emails I sent you, I try and include multiple people.
And Joshua, I know we have an email for you.
Right, but I didn't get the DES email, so I'm not on that list.
Okay. Did you sign up for it?
Jim Weber sent, this is where I can be, I was frustrated and I came across that one, is we had a list that Jim Weber had.
Yeah.
That had all the butters and the Sherwood Forest Associates. Not everybody got that. Jim Weber's book, and I tried to spread it around to as many people.
Gotcha.
But I really think that something, and I made it clear, I think the town should have said something.
Maybe we should pass around.
And we should get everybody in the loop, so not only do we have an email chain of 25 people, we should have an email chain of 250. That was my point.
So, are you saying that Jim Weber had a list?
He had a list that he sent out to the abutters, and then he sent it to the association. And that was really the only contact that got out, other than Jonas putting it on the Facebook page. And
Gotcha.
I didn't realize Jonas did it 6 days earlier.
Yeah.
That was the only communication for people to get here. So most of the people got here by word of mouth. There's 12 people that were notified about this meeting.
Gotcha. Tonight's meeting.
A neighbor called me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you said,
Yeah,
that's what you said, but it didn't send it to them.
Yeah.
It just mentioned about it.
So, this may sound a little harsh, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Does anybody look at the town's website? It's been publicly noticed there for how long? 2
2 weeks and a
weeks?
half. Yeah,
So-
put it on town email.
And town.
Yeah.
If we can send out letters like we did for the first meeting to the abutters, because we have that mailing list.
Well, that's part of the term is a butter. This is what Tom's talking about.
Well, we mailed it to the abutters of the pond. We had to say, okay, who we gonna mail this to?
What an abutter is, though, is the problem. We have abutters like me that are, and Janice, that are on the Sherwood Forest, that are on the main road of Shaker Road.
I understand.
Like everybody on the other side of the pond, they feel they're abutters too, and they're not getting that information directly. That's what I'm getting at, is.
We had to choose how many. We only have so many resources, and we had to say, okay, well, we're gonna at least notify the people, the landowners that abut the pond, physically abut the pond. That's what we did with the mailing the first meeting, and we depended on, we hope, on the public postings that we did. We're not sure who feels they're a butter because they don't actually physically abut the pond or not. So we had no way of knowing how to do that.
Can we get your list?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is only our side of the pond, you've got notification directly.
No, it was there. Anybody that has property that touched that pond received a letter.
For this meeting?
Not for this meeting.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
is this.
We did not, our timeline was so crunched, and we had some other things that unfortunately had to take priority, so we were not able to do that this time.
That
We
was
depended
what I was
on,
getting at.
the posting from the town website, town email, and Jim Weber.
That's all I'm getting at, I said, if this went out to everybody, we would have had more people.
Yeah.
So when we go, we've got an association, I don't want to say to somebody that didn't know about us, that they can't join the association. I want those 237 or 240 people in the community to have this option to be involved, because the majority of the people got this information secondhand.
But going forward, once you have an association, you'll be collecting those names. And then we just need to send it to whoever is.
That's all I'm saying, is the next step I didn't want it to be. And that's what we have now. But that, and I got your point, and I agree with it. All I'm just saying is going forward, I still think we're dealing with the minority of people and they're interested. Just look at how many people are here now. Look at how many people were here before.
Yep.
That's my point.
No, it's a very good point, Bob. It really is. I saw White's hand first.
The other thing I'd like to add to that is, we have a list of questions and things we want to ask those guys. I meet with PES for inspection every Tuesday morning.
Okay, is it Jim that comes?
Sometimes it's Jim, sometimes it's Jay Hardy.
Okay. Yeah.
There's been multiple, representatives. Dam inspection engineer.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you have questions, I can ask them for that information directly, and then they're very reactive. They'll send me,
Yep.
they'll reply anything that questions that I'm asking, even if they need to dig at the office to get it.
Yeah, yeah.
So give me a list of things.
Right, and the only caution that I want to make sure everybody here understands, we are a part-time government here. So we've literally got people working just a few days a week. So if you're depending on us to get timely information out, and there's a ton of things going on in this town right now that are fairly significant. I guess I'll leave it at that. So just understand, we're going to do our best, but we're a part-time government. So, Joshua, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if you could get your list that you just sent up to the last meeting, that would be great.
Absolutely.
That's really, I think you knew that was the point I was getting.
Perfect. Okay. So I heard a suggestion that we set a date for a meeting. So it looks like we're looking 2 weeks into the future. Unfortunately, but July 4th is July 4th, so.
Would we be allowed to use town property for a meeting?
Is it easier to do it over?
You're welcome to use the fire station over at the Sherwood Forest. Yeah.
Okay.
If you guys have a name, we'll contact, I'll give them the key, because we have the, we start to use that building.
Okay, that's great. So let me ask you a question. You said you wanted to talk about other ways to fundraise. Do we want to set up the organization, go to that plan, or do we want to fundraise? How do we want to transition?
So what I'd like to leave you with, yeah, that's right. Let's get the date first. Then we'll give you some information, and then we can talk about.
Pick a date.
Thank you.
So, but this is just for the association, not for us.
Correct. Well, we hear that.
If we're invited.
Yeah, I agree. Well, yeah, and Bob, assuming you invite members of the select board. That's
I
a,
think
yeah.
need your back in the beginning, not your blame and not your assigned responsibility.
Understood.
Just your
Yeah.
support.
Yep.
And just throw it in the 10th of July. You'll just take it.
So that's Wednesday, the 10th of July?
You're gonna keep conflicting.
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna meet up at Sherwood. Yeah, so.
You raise your hand if you can make it?
Where?
Wednesday, the 10th.
July the 10th. What time, Bob?
I work in Boston on Wednesday, so I made it here with enough time to do 6:30 work for people. It's just, I can't do it earlier.
Understood. All right, so your first meeting is going to be Wednesday, July 10th, 6:30 p.m. at the Sherwood Forest. What do you guys call that? The old Firehouse? Or? Yeah.
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 That's up to you.
That was easier with your time.
I have no objection.
I can walk on.
I'm not sure. So, I'm meeting at 7 o'clock.
All right, so we're already well over an hour into it. Jonas, what?
Just to, like, you know, your guys' emails are not really available on the website, can you offer that to them?
Yeah, you mean our town emails are?
The town email, like the regular town email is there, but your direct email for you guys, I've never seen on the website. So,
It should be when we're listed as Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, I think, no?
Oh.
Well, we'll certainly
It
pop
just
up.
says, yeah.
the website's not the easiest.
What's that?
We're very transparent. We will find you.
Yes,
All right, we can do that.
you do. Okay, so I'm gonna ask Ken Folsom to talk about that other group. Just, this is more for your information, that they made an offer of assistance that I think you'll want to take them up on.
Yeah, so there's a group on Harmony Lane South. If you're familiar, it's at the southern end of Rocky Pond. There's three old steel culverts that are on the outflow side of that pond. One of them collapsed a few years ago, so they're down to two. That is a private road, and they needed to figure out how to solve their problem. So as you can see from the handout, they formed an association. And in 2020, they had 18 landowners. They got a design for the project to replace these with a box culvert. They filed the wetlands permits. They got 2 bids from some general contractors. And they also received 4 different grants in the amount of $356,000. And then they one of the grants they got was from DES, which was for 54% of the project cost. They're about $90,000 shy of what they need, so they're exploring other options. I've been in contact with New Hampshire Homeland Security and the FEMA group of DC to see if there's any other grants, federal grants that they might be in line for. The Merrimack County Conservation Commission helped them. So that's just kind of, they did this in 2 years, and they're very close to getting this done. Attached to that handout was a letter that they sent out to all the property owners on Rocky Pond soliciting funds to see if they could come up with that extra $80,000 or $90,000. And on the back page is just kind of a list of people that they want to thank and who are taking part in the project. Kim Scammon is very willing to meet with your group to discuss and give you details on how they formed and all the steps they had to take through the permitting and then bidding and designing and bidding and all that. So you have somebody that is a resident of the town that is more or less been through what you guys are looking at going through and is willing to reach out and help. So again, she couldn't make it tonight, but she wanted to let you know that there is a resource there for you guys. And again, she called me a couple weeks ago because they were short money, and I reached out to Homeland Security, and I don't mind doing that. That's, you know, if there's things like that the town can do for you, that's what we can do. We can try and make those connections for you because we have those resources. We've used them before, and hopefully we can at least get you somebody to talk to. So, and again, Bob, you have my email. My email's out there. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to shoot me an email or call the office and leave a message for me, and I'll get back to you.
All right, that's all I had on the agenda for tonight, was to really just get you guys going in a positive manner. So we've had a quick discussion of the select board. We'll have at least one select board member at each of your meetings. So
I really appreciate it.
Yes.
It's very
Yeah.
important and very well.
Yeah.
That shows a lot.
Yeah, so anything else anybody wanted to bring up tonight? 2 weeks. July 10th. Bob?
I'll put you guys on the spot. I know where you stand as an association. Would one of your board members be willing to be part of this group? Because I think we're really tied to it. And I really think someone from the association should be part of it. I know where you stand. I've been a big supporter of you, and you know where I am. I really think that.
I beg to differ, Bob. I beg to differ. I don't think that's a good idea. Thank you.
Why?
Because it's completely separate, totally separate issue. Them, they take care of the roads and fishing derbies. Okay? They don't take care of the ponds. They don't take care of anything. Okay? This is ours, not someone else's.
I understand your point of view, but the only reason I brought it up is they have public access to it, which makes 230 people have access to that. So
Oh, that's fine. We can all communicate. We don't need the board from an association that has nothing to do with this.
it was only a question, a suggestion, not an argument.
Well, I'm suggesting too. I'm not arguing. I'm just suggesting that it isn't. Period.
Let them come as private members.
This is a private association for a purpose to save this pond dam, not to get involved with other issues that don't even relate to it.
I understand your opinion. I don't agree with it, but I respect it.
No, thank you. I don't agree with you either. And I will be headstrong.
Okay,
And I will.
I just asked the question.
Hey, I'm just voicing my opinion. And I will be there again to voice my opinion that I don't think is a good idea.
All right, folks, I have nothing else. Bob, if you see me after, we've got emails for you.
Perfect.
For us. Anything else? Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
All those in favor?